Assalamu alaikum, hello and welcome to my show Connecting with Saima Parwaz. I hope all of you are doing great and waiting to see my another guest. Many of us don't like to work for other people or companies. There are reasons. They don't like working from 9 to 5, or they have their own ideas which they would like to implement, or some get bored doing one thing over and over. My today's topic is, what is a small business and entrepreneurship? My today's guests are my recurring guests, Yameena Ansari and Abhijit Roy. Welcome to my show, guys. How are you guys?
Thanks for having us, Saima. We're excited to be here.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Saima. Thank you.
Really so it's been a while, Yameena.
Yeah, it's been a while. I'm happy you invited me back on. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm happy too, and I have extra energy today, you know.
I can tell.
Yeah. So you tell me, how's your day today?
The day was good. It was like the same mundane, and it's a Monday, so there was a lot of work, and yet there was a lot of traffic. So otherwise it was all good.
I can see. I was even stuck in the traffic.
Okay, so otherwise it was all good.
All right. So what we're gonna talk about today, guys?
We're going to talk about small businesses, and I'm super excited because Abhijit is an expert in businesses and strategic business marketing. I happen to run a business which is doing fairly well, so I'm super excited to share some of the knowledge that I've learned from my personal experience running a business.
And same is the case with me. Like, I would be really little too happy to actually share and showcase what are the do's and the don'ts for a small business or for entrepreneurship. Like, when you take that drill, what are the things you should do and what are the things you can avoid? So that's pretty much the case.
So before we start questions, which some of my clients will send me like lots of questions, we're going to discuss about those. So first you guys tell me, just to entertain, how do you guys start your day? First, Yameena, I'm gonna start with you.
Yeah, I want to say that I start my day with meditating and yoga and going for a walk. I think the reality right now is that I'm expecting a child. So
congratulations!
Yeah, thank you. So
he's a born star, or she?
yeah, they're a born star. Their first TV appearance ever in the womb. So the reality is that I have had to, at this time of my life, modify the expectations that I put on myself. I had very high expectations of myself and how this period of my time was going to look. I was going to eat perfectly healthy. I was going to exercise all the time. I was going to have a very balanced lifestyle. The reality is that I'm exhausted very often. And I don't want to eat quinoa salad. I really just want to have a grilled cheese sandwich. And I'm okay with that. So I sleep a lot, I sleep in, and then I kind of roll into bed and I slowly start working.
So are you eating a lot in these days?
I'm eating a good amount.
I hope in my next episode you're not going to be 200 pounds, right?
It's okay if I'm 200 pounds. But honestly, my morning routine has relaxed a lot, and I feel okay about it. I think we have to adjust to each season of life, and this season of life is a lot of exhaustion and nausea. So I'm being easy on myself, to be honest with you.
It's good.
Good for you.
And how do you start? How do you take initiative in your day?
Like, when the first thing that I do usually is like I offer my prayers, and then I hit the gym, because that's something that clears my mind, and that's my time, because that's the only time when I'm spending with myself, which gives me that certain amount of elbow movements room or space so that I can think through critical things or the things that is coming my way during the course of the day. So that's how I start my day, and I always stick to some healthy foods, like when it comes to the morning hours, like at least the breakfast and the lunch, and thereafter I might go a little haywire, but yes, at least that's what I generally do.
I do the same thing. Like I start my day with some prayers and exercise, then send my kids to school, and then go to office. Yeah, that's how I start.
Look at you too.
Yeah,
It's
I'm a mom. You guys can imagine, right?
yes.
Yeah.
And that's commendable job actually. That's a full-time
Yeah.
that's a full-time job actually in
course.
itself. Every mother is a warrior, so
Pretty much.
yes.
And every father should be a warrior too. So
So we are going to discuss today small business and entrepreneurship, right?
Yes.
So who's gonna take initiative? What is a small business first?
Small business is like whenever a business is like initiated, like when you set up a business and till the time it has reached to a particular quantum, like hit a particular benchmark, it is usually small businesses. Like say, I would say a turnover of like 500,000 or within a million is when you are considered as a small business. And thereafter, you are no longer under the category of the small business entrepreneurship.
So there are some brackets basically.
Yes, it's generally there is no thumb rule to it, but that it's more out of practice that people have come out with this this terminology of small businesses and categorizing. Like there are compartments. Like there are big businesses, then there are businesses, then there are small businesses. So small businesses, the category is somebody who has a turnover, some business which has a turnover of some within 500,000 to 1 mil. So that's what the small business is all about.
So Yameena, you are doing basically you running your own firm, right? That also come under a small business, right?
it does. Yeah,
does,
I run a small business. We have a team of 6. So this comes under the gambit of being a small business. According to Business Development Canada, a small business is any business that has between 0 and 99 employees. So I have between 0 and 99 employees. Therefore, I'm running a small business.
All right, that's great. And what is entrepreneurship? What are your thoughts about it?
Entrepreneurship is when you don't want to work 9 to 5, so you instead decide to work 24/7. It's deciding to have an idea, take a chance, risk everything, risk your sanity, risk your financial future, work extremely hard on the promise of a dream that for most people does not pan out, but when it does work out, you get to feel full of pride because you've created something for yourself and for other people. And it's the opportunity to be a leader in your own community. And even for me, I run a team of 6 and I'm their little leader, right? I set the vision for the company. I create the culture every day. I decide how we're going to create products and market them. So to me, that's entrepreneurship. It's taking a chance, risking it all on the hope, the dream that it's going to pan out.
Yes, so that's very rightly put actually. So when you decide actually to come out of that drug of the per month or quarterly or the bi-weekly salary, and you go walk that extra mile where you want to take that chance and do something for yourself, that's when that is what entrepreneurship is all about. So as they say that like when you're working on yourself, like 9 to 5 job, it's actually like you make a comfortable living, you have a house, you have a car, and which is fine. But if you work hard on yourself, you make a fortune, which is super fine. So I think that is what entrepreneurship is all about. It's super fine till the time you have the capacity and the guts to take that, take that leap of faith. And actually it is true, because if you take the leap of faith, there are 2 things that happens by and large. Either the net appears or you learn flying.
Yeah, some people, they don't want to take so much responsibility, right? They just want to work like for other people, like 9 to 5. They want to come home and probably they just want to have an easy life, right?
Yes, so Saima, actually people are aggressive, or like people are willing to take the responsibilities. What they are not willing to is the risk.
Risk, yeah.
So
challenges, right?
Yes. So with the entrepreneurship, there is a lot of uncertainties, which is there, and like any other business, because we are talking about small businesses here, like big risks, big profits. So that is what entrepreneurship is all about.
Like during pandemic, right? Many small businesses, they shut down, and people, they were not even able to run them, right? And yeah, that's pretty much.
Well, that was, yes, that's true indeed. But like it was not only small businesses which were shut down, some big businesses even
Yeah,
took a lot of hit.
true.
And like, why are we talking about the pandemic? The pandemic is one of its kind event. Even the episode that happened in 2008 in the US, like some giants fell apart. Some of the giants fell apart. So that's part of the drill always in the like if you talk about entrepreneurship or running your own entity, that risk is always there. Like sometimes you succeed, sometimes you may not. But like yes, keep moving forward. Like that continuity is what is important, and that ensures your success.
But I think also these massive global events, which we frequently see as collapse event, like the 2008 economic
Yes.
crisis or like the pandemic, is also a business opportunity, right? So we had all of these great gyms, for example, that pivoted into online programming. So they actually increase their profits because now their expenses have gone down. They don't need to have a physical space, and they can stream the same shows all the time, and they can earn revenue on that, right? And then we had all of these health businesses that popped up, right? All these COVID testing clinics. So I think definitely when these kind of economic events happen, we always look at how is this going to cause a business to fail, but there's also opportunity there, right? To pivot.
So what are the after effects? What happened to the small businesses after pandemic? Are they trying to build themselves again, or?
Yeah, many are actually, Saima. Many are. And many have actually succeeded. It's about time they have succeeded, because some of the businesses, like as she pretty much rightly mentioned, like some, you just need to understand the requirement of that particular situation. And if you take that pivot, then that establishes whether you're going to succeed or not. Because if you stick to the same principles, the same idea of doing the business, then you're not going to succeed, because it's an evolution. Like the pandemic brought an evolution which made everything online. The Zoom, the Gmeet, everything. These days, even like after everything opening up, people prefer virtual meetings as opposed to the in-person meetings. So that's what like small businesses are all about, like taking that pivot. And there are not only like everybody understands the pain point, like yes, there has been a lot of hits, but like yes, and that's the reason why there are so many private investors, there are so many banks, there are so many government grants which is available for small businesses, where they can pitch with their business idea or their refined business plan, and they can actually avail those funds which can be used to their benefit. So that's something is happening pretty much everywhere. It is happening
Everywhere, yeah.
yeah. And like if you have say for example, if you have a small pizza store, and you took a hit during the pandemic because you were selling, like physically you were just trying to sell your pizzas and all that, and like during the time of pandemic you realize like the pivot is like we have to go completely online, completely virtual. So that what better than that? Like today they are doing, possibly they are doing way better than what they were doing
So there are
before the
many
pandemic.
businesses during pandemic, they went online, right? Even my own businesses, they went
Absolutely,
online.
everything went online. Like you talk about the shopping industry.
Yeah.
Everything went like 360-degree turn. Like even like even that supported one of the technical aspects, that is the artificial intelligence or the VR, virtual learning. Like through the virtual learning, it actually brought a revolution through that. People are trying actually clothes through the virtual reality and all those things. And like so that was a 360-degree turn altogether for any form of business.
I think I want to kind of stress exactly what Abhijit has said, and I've experienced in my own business, is as horrible and devastating and isolating as a pandemic was, for me in my personal business, there is nothing better that could have happened than the pandemic. Prior to the pandemic, starting a law firm was a massive financial endeavor that really could not be started unless you have a minimum of $50,000 on the table. When I started my business, I started with $16,000 investment, which I have always had approximately that amount in the bank. And that's possible because I don't need a physical office. I didn't have to buy a bunch of computers and telephones I got an entirely virtual team, and I've continued with that. So I think in a lot of ways, the pandemic has been so beneficial in allowing folks to start a business in a more cost-effective manner due to the fact that people are accustomed now to virtual businesses.
Plus, the pandemic has changed the world, right? Everything has been upside down. People are thinking differently, right?
That's true. And
That's
like,
true, right?
and it is, because like pandemic has taught us one thing, like adults should be treated as adults. Like going to the office from 9 to 5, always being there, whether your productivity is at your optimum or not, regardless of that, you need to go to the office. Instead, you work from home and you showcase better productivity. And why they do that is because they are not being monitored. So when you treat adults like adults, which pandemic pretty much taught us, the productivity actually has gone up. So I think it was much needed.
So what are the benefits for having businesses, not a physical location? There are many benefits, right? People can save lots of money, the companies, right? You can add up, Yameena, you're running
so
your
one
own.
of the other benefits, so obviously one of the primary benefits of having a virtual business. So for me personally, I do have a physical office location that I hold for when clients want to meet in person. Most of my clients, 95% of the time, don't want to meet in person. So we hardly ever use the physical office location. So yes, that is a financial benefit. But the other benefit is being able to tap into talent and be able to continue to retain and work with that talent effectively, regardless of where that talent is. So for me personally, there are 3 lawyers that work on my team. 2 of us are in the GTA, but one of our lawyers right now, she's in Russia. And she's been working very effectively from Russia. And if we were in a pre-pandemic environment, this whole time that she's in Russia, we wouldn't be able to collaborate, we wouldn't be able to work. And then if you look at my law clerks, neither of my law clerks are in Toronto. One of them is in Newmarket and the other one is in Windsor. And we work very effectively. And even we have an intern working with us right now. She's also not in the GTA. So having this type of virtual environment doesn't limit me to talent that is necessarily immediately around me. I'm able to look across Canada, and I know a lot of other entrepreneurs are even able to look across the globe. And also, if that talent wants to move around, or they want to go on extended leave, or they want to go somewhere else, we can continue working. So I think it's been fantastic, to be honest.
Exactly. Very rightly said. Like that's exactly the point is when you don't stipulate things on them, like okay, these are the number of hours you have to work, these are the number of holidays you have, so they actually walk that extra mile in actually to justify what they are doing, and the productivity actually goes up. So that's why you need to treat them the way they need to be treated, and working offline like virtually works actually fantastic for everyone, be that be the employers and even from the standpoint of employees. Imagine they drawing the same salary but like saving on the travel expenses, drawing the same salary, whereas they don't have to buy those random coffees that they had to actually when they were in office. So they are saving like each coffee will cost them like about $3 to $4 at least. I'm saying, like, I'm taking a conservative number. If they're having those coffees like 3 times a day, that it's $15 is gone up in the air, whereas they're saving that money. So at least they are more profitable in a way, because every money saved is every money earned.
As many businesses are seasonal, like farmlands, tutoring centers, some areas of construction. Is there any time, a good time to start a small business during the year? Guys, first you start.
Okay, there is no, per se, there is no time when you need to start a small business. There's no definite time period when
But
you need to.
isn't like it depend on the which kind of business you start?
Exactly the point. So what is the genre of the business? So what is the line of business that defines like what is the best time period? So if you're into the ed tech field, so the best time is when there is the school season starts. So that's when you launch it. That's best.
Yeah, that's where
It's not only that. It's also depends. Now, it's not only the timing. It is also the area where you're operating your businesses, or the areas where you're advertising. Say, for example, if you are like you have a you want to open like a toy shop, the best location for that would be, or the best place for advertisement would be near a children's hospital. So you need to think from that perspective. Similarly, when coming back to your question, like the best time, barring I think the holiday season, which is predominantly here, because most of the people are focusing on their holidays or like vacations and all those things. Barring that time, I think any time is good time. But like again, even that time, the holiday season, if you're focusing on something like which is related to entertainment or something to do with leisure activity, so even that time is good for that particular industry. So it's industry specific. It cannot be, you cannot just like compartmentalize that, like, okay, this season is for this particular line of business, or this season you need to understand your target audience, and you need to understand like what is the need of the customers. Based on that, any season can be a good season for any business.
Yeah, because my expertise is in the tutoring centers, right? And so I know when to start it. I know usually kids, when they have their exams or when the new season,
the new session starts,
new
so
session
that's the
starts,
best
right?
time. That's pretty much the iron is hot that time. So if you launch it, like you make a good fortune.
You want to add up something, Yameena?
Yeah, I think for me, when I started my business, there were 3 things that I needed to have in place, and it wasn't about a certain time of year. It was 3 conditions. So the first condition is money. So you should know how long your gestational cycle is going to be until you're anticipating generating a revenue, and have enough money in the bank that you can sustain yourself and your business. So for me, I knew, okay, I have $16,000 in the bank, and if I need, I can have more. So it's a good time to start my business. The second thing that I looked at was market condition. I started my business at a time when Canada has announced historically high immigration numbers, and at a time when globally things are kind of falling apart. So there is more than ever a desire for people to relocate to Canada. So if you see that there is a desperate need in the world for you to start your business, that's the second thing. The third thing I looked at as, am I ready to do this thing? Do I have sufficient legal experience? Do I have a team around me that's going to support me in what I need to do? And do I have the skills to do this business? So it wasn't about a certain time of year. It's about, do I have the money? Is this something that the market needs right now? And am I the person to do it?
Makes sense.
That's very true. You need to just understand, like that's exactly the thing that pretty much she nailed it. Like you need to understand what you're trying to sell and whom are you trying to sell. And if both the things are in sync, then pretty much you're good to launch your business.
So dear friends, we are going for a small break, and I'm going to see you. Hi guys, I'm back. I'm here with Yameena and Abhijit. How are you guys?
Good.
Perfect.
How
Good.
was your break?
Good. We're having fun. Always nice to
Chatting.
chit chat, get some
Yes.
coffee.
That's great. So you guys work together too, right? You and Dev and Abhi, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we refer business back and forth because obviously I'm an immigration lawyer, and Abhijit and his business partner Dave are business consultants. So a lot of times when folks want to come to Canada, they need an immigration lawyer to help them file the paperwork, but they also need someone who's going to help them establish a business or grow a business, and that's what these folks are.
So it's like
experts in.
the line of business like Yameena is in, like, and we are in it, most often than not, like when you're talking about business, it has an overlap, because like any businesses which is outside Canada who needs to move to or migrate to Canada, they need both the parties. They need a competent lawyer, and in case of Yameena, she's par excellence, and we with a limited capacity are able to give that clients few advices, which helps.
So today we also going to discuss how these small businesses and small trades can helpful for the people who wants to be Canadian citizen, who like to come from other countries and settle down in Canada. And also the people who are already Canadian, and there will be a very good information for them. So hey guys, you start first.
Yeah, I'll focus on the part about how a small business can assist somebody coming to Canada, because it's obviously a big part of what I do. So there are a few different ways that folks can immigrate to Canada using a business. One of them obviously is that each province has a provincial entrepreneurship program. Essentially the way these programs work is that an overseas entrepreneur comes to Canada, establishes a business, then they receive permanent residency for themselves and their family members. And generally the distinction between the different provinces is the amount of net worth that the entrepreneur needs to have and how much money they need to invest into the Canadian economy. One of my favorite programs right now is Alberta. Recently, Alberta dropped their investment amount to only $100,000. So that means that a foreign entrepreneur can spend only $100,000 in the Canadian economy, establish a business with that $100,000, and through that, they can get permanent residency for themselves and their families. So this is one of the most common routes, is provincial entrepreneur programs. The other way that someone can benefit from being an overseas entrepreneur and bringing a business to Canada is an owner-operator work permit. So this is when somebody gets a work permit to come and establish their business in Canada. So it's not a direct to permanent residency pathway, but frequently what happens is that after the person comes to Canada and they work here for a while, their profile in the Canadian immigration system grows so much that they are then able to transition to permanent residency. There's a bunch of other pathways to getting permanent residency in Canada through entrepreneurship, but these are two of the ones that I work the most with, is provincial entrepreneurship programs and also helping people get owner-operator work permits.
Yes, and there are a few others as well, like the starter visa program, where any person, any entrepreneur who has a unique idea which is innovative in itself and it's novel, as per the Canadian, from the Canadian standpoint or the ecosystem or the North America, they can actually pitch that idea to any of the designated entities in Canada, and if gets approved, they can actually launch their business in Canada. And there are angel investors, or like there are other private investors, those who put in the seed funding as well in those kind of companies. So that way they, and it's a federal program, mind it. So that gives them a direct PR, a federal PR as well. You have the option for the work permit as well, which is an open work permit for the next 3 years. So while they are having an open work permit, working on their businesses, the PR comes through. So that's one of these things. Another way, like the way she's explained about the owner operator program, there is ICT as well. So it is the same thing, where you pretty much transfer your, like you transfer yourself based on your business which you're setting up in Canada, on based on that particular the route. I won't say the program, but the route. So there are various other programs, and like the provincial programs, like she has a favorite of Alberta. There's something in Manitoba as well. There's something in for Ontario as well. There is something for Ontario as well. But of course, talking about the funding piece, Alberta possibly is very competitive as opposed to Ontario. Ontario literally bleeds you dry.
It's the most expensive one in the whole country.
It's the most expensive one, of course.
Yeah.
So, but like, yes, there are a lot of programs and a lot of avenues for entrepreneurs, those who want to move from their home country to Canada. And it is actually beneficial from both sides, for like be that be the entrepreneur or be that be the Canadians, because for Canadians it is more the business, more the economy, more the employment. It's simple maths. And when we are talking about the entrepreneur, for them they get to evaluate as in take a chance with their business idea or their business in this part of the continent, in North America and the Canada, and yes, one of the largest market, which is the neighboring country, which is the US. If they get a penetration into that market, it becomes huge. You have the ability to become a unicorn only then, because if your target audience is US. So that is, it's beneficial for both the parties, if you see. And
Okay, yeah, that's great. So your clients are mostly in different countries, right?
they like for Yameena, it needs to be in different country, and for us it is onshore, offshore, both, because business consulting is not centric to.
So you're from India mostly, or
I am.
no, your clients?
Oh, my clients, like not necessarily. Anybody, anywhere who wants business consulting services and who is agreeable to pay our fees is my target
Yeah.
audience.
So yeah, my next question is many people who like to come to Canada, like from Pakistan, India, they are like third world countries mostly, right? And people, they are from middle class or maybe lower middle class, and they don't have much to pay. So what do you guys offer to them?
Okay, Saima. So first thing is, like, I think when we are talking about we were talking about the business, because that's the substratum of this entire conversation, is of having business immigration and business ideas for Canada. So when we are talking about the business ventures in Canada, people those who are approaching, be that be India, be that be Pakistan, be that be some Middle Eastern countries like the MENA region or all that, trust me, they have way more funds than many people can think of in this side of the continent. Trust me on that. Okay? Because please understand, the distribution of economy is not as it is in this part of the world. There, as per the statistics, the 90% of the funds is controlled by 8% of the population. That's about it. And the remaining 92% of the people are surviving on the remaining funds, whatever is available. So imagine a country where the export is so huge, where they have so much of resources, they have the economy, or they have the economy distributed only amongst those 8%. So what kind of funds they are capable of bringing? So that is not the question, but like, yes, it's an inherent nature of any customer that you talk to, be that be any part of like the in the South Asian countries, they have that knack of like negotiating. So no matter what, no matter however deep their pockets are, they would negotiate, which is not the case in this side of the world. They do not negotiate, but like, that's the case. That's something which is innate. Like, they are born.
I know personally many communities. I know they don't bargain. They just, whatever you ask, they just pay. They're really good in money, right?
That's best. So introduce us.
I will. So many of my clients, they ask me, when is a good time to start a business, which we already answered. Like, their timing for every business, different timing during the year. And also they ask me, what should we start? They want to start a new business, like small business, small trade, but they want to work for themselves. And for my knowledge, they should know about their expertise, what they are good in, what are their past experiences, what have they worked in, and which they don't get bored, and where they can generate money. And another thing, they should add up if they want to put everything online, or they want to have a physical location. If it's a physical location, it should be a good location, and according to what they're going to start. Probably if they want to sell something, it should be in some good shopping center. So I'm gonna ask my team here what are their opinion about it. All right, Yameena, you can start.
Yeah, so I think for me, there were three things that I looked at when I started an immigration law firm. One was, am I the person to do this? The second was, are the people going to come? And the third was, is this something I even want to do? So for me, am I the person to do this? Yes, I'm the person to do this because I went to law school. I'm highly competent in law. I speak multiple languages. So that makes me uniquely qualified to be an excellent immigration lawyer. Are the people going to come? I knew the people are going to come because even before I launched my immigration law firm, people would come up to me all the time asking me for immigration law advice. And that was actually the first light bulb moment that I had, is the market has already identified me as an immigration lawyer. So if I open up a shop in immigration law, the people are going to come, right? And the last piece is this something I want to do? So for me, it is highly meaningful to help people with immigration because I'm an immigrant. So I know the impact that moving to another country and settling there and what it can do to people's lives. I also like that this is not a highly traumatic area of law. I've previously worked in criminal law, I've worked in Aboriginal law. So I have seen firsthand a lot of intergenerational violence, domestic violence, trauma. I've seen photos that I will never forget in my whole life. And I never wanted to work in an area of law that I would be that traumatized again. So I knew that I'm the person to do this. The people will come, and on a day-to-day basis, I will do something that is meaningful to me and that I can live with, that I want to go to the office every day.
Basically, you guys are helping people, right? We are all helping other people, whoever is doing their small businesses, trade, or even they are working for 9 to 5, right? So we need to be healthy first, right? Mentally and physically, right?
That's
All
true.
right, that's true, right? Yeah. So whatever we like, that's my point. Like whatever we like, we should do what we like, right?
So you like for example, like what she said, like that's very correct. Like just drawing some inference from there, you need to do something which is either you are passionate about that particular thing, or you associate with things which somewhere like you have a characteristic or you have a trait for that particular line of business or line of profession. You just do it then. So it is, just don't do it just for the heck of it, or like for the, when you look at the numbers or the statistics, or like they say like, okay, this particular industry is doing good, so get into it, or like this industry isn't that good, so don't try and avoid. That's not the case. The thing is like you can succeed in any trade provided you're passionate about it. And that's the difference between the first question that you asked, what is the difference between like when we are talking about entrepreneurs or employees. So employees are not, most often than not, they cannot be passionate because they are there to just run their family, to bring food to the table. As opposed to an entrepreneur, he's doing or driving that particular that particular process because he's passionate about it. So you need to be passionate about it. You need to connect with what you're trying to do, what you're trying to achieve out of it.
Another thing, guys, I want to add up. For having a small, if you are thinking to have a small business, you need to know about the market. You need to know what are you good in and what you like to do in future, and in currently what you're willing to do, and obviously your budget. Like what is your budget? And it can be 20,000 to 30,000. It depends. Like 1 million. It all depends what you have and where you want to start from. Okay, I'm right, guys?
That absolutely, that's correct. Like these are the substratums of any business. Like you need to know your limitation. You need to know set your expectations, and then proceed accordingly. But like yes, talking about the budget is something which is subjective. So it varies from person to person, but like you need to have a projection. More than a budget, you need to have a projection that like, okay, this is where I am and this is where I want to reach.
So I was talking to Yameena, my best friend, before recording, and we were talking about, she has answer for this question, how the business can be profitable from first day. So we're going to talk about it. Yameena.
Yeah, so I've been really lucky that my business has been profitable from day one. I have not had to reinvest. And how exactly did I do this? So I mean, there's only two ways to make a business profitable. One is lower your expenses, and the other one is to increase your profit, right? So how do you lower your expenses? Well, first of all, get rid of all of the expectations that people are going to put into your mind about everything that you need to buy to start a business, because everybody is selling you something. So everyone's going to tell you from day one, you need a website, you need a fancy office, you need this practice management software, you need to have a new cell phone, you need a new laptop. Most of these things you do not need. Think about what you really need on a day-to-day basis and only buy that. So, reduce your expenses, and you'll be surprised at the things that to this day I do not have, which somebody at some point told me was a must for a new business. How do you increase profits? So there are a few different ways to do it, but the most obvious is when you look at marketing, you have activities that generate awareness of your brand. So these are things like, for example, sponsoring a sporting event, or even doing a media appearance like this. So this is an opportunity for people just to learn about my business. But this does not immediately transfer into somebody is going to call me and they are now going to be my client, right? So this is an awareness building activity where generally in the community people are learning about my business. Then there are conversion focusing activities. So this is when you, for example, are speaking to somebody who is an immediate immigration need, and I say to them, and hire me to be your lawyer. And this is how I will be your lawyer. So when you're starting a business, you want to start generating income as soon as possible. Do not focus on the awareness generating activities. So don't focus on, putting up billboards or doing media appearances or sponsoring sporting events. Be as close as possible to the people that are ready to hire a lawyer. So in my case, be as close as possible to people that have an immediate immigration need and make it known to them. Hire me. So I think that's the main things is, first of all, don't get caught up in all the stuff that people tell you to buy. You don't need most of it. It's gonna make you go in debt. It's gonna stress you out. And the other thing is, be as close as possible to the person who's gonna buy. Rather than just generally broadcasting about how great you and your business are.
Absolutely. And like what also adding on to that, like you don't need to, like when we are talking about like promotions or advertisements, we are talking about active promotions or like advertisements. But when you're networking, that is the key to success actually when you're starting off your career. Networking, you are networking with people with the idea like, yes, you just want to get to know people. But the more people you get to know, the more people are getting to know you as well. So that is a passive way of marketing whereby you're not actually spending anything, but there are so many networking events which happens in, at least in Canada and in the Toronto region, where you can just freely attend, reach out to people. There's no harm in asking people like, okay, what do you do? Exchange ideas. That's how they know whether you are competent enough and whether you are capable to manage a particular stint or not. So that's how you are doing a passive advertisement of yours without spending much of money. And another thing is like talking about being successful from the first day is actually not, the idea is most people or most businesses fail because when you're focusing on the goal, if your idea is to get 1 million in the first year, rather than becoming, if you focus on like, okay, I want to get 1 million. So in that pursuit, what you do is like you go into advertisement, you go into buying few stuffs and all that. Instead, focus on what you want to become. So
or
that is
what are their goals, like
not the goals, but the process. Basically, this particular philosophy is called the aggregation of marginal gain, where you are trying to improve upon something that you're trying to sell each day. You're trying to fine tune it, improve it, and then again go and reconnect with those people with whom you connected possibly 10 days back. So they know that like, yes, there is an improvement. He's a better professional now. So let's start giving out work. Let's take chance with them. Let's test waters with them. So that's how like it's a process. So if you focus on the process rather than the goal, that's when you actually ensure you're gonna successful. Because for example, if you train every day without an idea of like actually competing or like winning a tournament, and I throw you in the middle of a tournament, you have learned like for the last 5 years you have been training and training and training. Would you stand in the middle of the field? No, you'll go there and score. Now that's the process.
I have noticed recently the selling something is the most hardest thing. You need to be good in sales in order to run a small business or need to achieve anything in life. So that's my opinion. And also one of my clients, they ask if we like to run a small business, do we need to be good in numbers? Do we we need to know accounting, how these things work. My opinion is yes, you should be good in numbers. You don't have to be an accountant, but you need to know what is happening around you, what is happening in which softwares people are using, which softwares are good in which business. Like for accounting firm, there are different softwares. For legal firms, for law firms, there are different softwares. Also, how to connect with people, who should be in your team, which kind of people you need in your team. And yeah, obviously you need to be street smart and book smart. Yeah, that's my thinking. You guys want to add up something?
Yes, no, that's, I would just say like everything, if you put the way you put across everything, like you need to know the team, you need to understand like what your business is. It's all comes under that one particular category of the feasibility. When you do a feasibility of your own business, like then you understand like, okay, this is what I'm trying to sell to people, and these are the requirements for making this business stable. So that's all comes under the feasibility study. So you need to make a feasibility study of your own business the way you make a feasibility study of your own life. Like waking up every day in the morning, and if you like continuously do the wrong things in the wrong way, then you're going nowhere. So you need to do a feasibility study of your own life. Similarly, you do a feasibility study of your business. Secondly, selling is no rocket science, trust me. It's just you need to add that human touch. That's about it. The day you feel the pain of your customers, that's about it, you're done. Because people want to buy anything that solves their pain rather than something that solves their desire. There's a difference between luxury and necessity. That's the thing. So you need to understand what their necessity is, what is their pain point is. And that's what selling is all about. Connecting with your customers, connecting with your prospective target audience. That's what sales is all about.
So Yameena and Abhij, what are your one advice to the audience?
I think something that I notice a lot about, especially immigrants, women, young women, is that we are trapped in a cage of our own minds. So of course we have all of these cages around us, all of these expectations from society, all of these expectations from our family, all of these expectations from our friends maybe, our frenemies, but we also put these things on ourselves, and we come up with ridiculous stories in our minds about how we can't be successful, how we can't be business owners, how we can't take a chance. And I think if you can find a way to overcome these nonsense things that people have told you, and find a way to put them aside and say, thank you for sharing that advice with me. It is not helpful to me, and I will leave it. I think that is the most powerful thing that an entrepreneur can do, because without that, you will never start a business. Because there will always be dozens of people telling you what a terrible idea this is and how it's never going to work out.
First thing, we need to be ready for any challenge, right? You need to be brave in order to do anything, like not just a business, anything in life, right?
Yeah, you have to free your mind, right? That's courage.
That's a courage, right?
That's true. So I would say like surround, like in order to build something, you need to surround yourself with people whose eyes sparkle when they see you, so that they are there to support you always. Second, the top of one mountain is the bottom of another, so keep climbing. Third, get a handle to your emotions. Not everything needs a reaction, trust me. And that's about it. I think that's the only thing, these are the only things that I follow principally in order to succeed, or in order to like make a decision. I think, and it's been helpful so far for me, so I think it would be helpful, may be helpful for others as well.
Thank you, Abhi. I want to add up one thing, guys. What I think, women can be better businesswomen. Women know how to run their families, how to train their kids, how to, doesn't matter which kind of families they are belong to, from where they are coming from. But women, if you have courage, if you have a purpose of your life, you have goals, set up your goals, set up what you want to do in life, and you have lots of time. And just break these stereotypes and come up with full of your courage and power. So we are having a very good conversation, guys. If you guys have, any of you want to open up a new business, or you guys need any legal advice, you can contact to my legal team. My number is, you can find on a screen, or you can Google it, Saima Parwaz, connecting with Saima Parwaz. And if you want to, you need, any of your loved ones want to come to Canada, they need some legal advice for immigration, you can connect to Yameena, or anyone wants to open up a new business, they can connect to Abhijit Roy. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so much, Saima. Thank you. Thank you
And
once
it
again.
was I really enjoyed today's talk.
I had a fun time. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
coming. Many of us spend their most of the life thinking about their life goals and purposes and objectives. Life is very short, guys. Try to live meaningful life. Purposes can guide life decisions, influence behavior, shape goals, offer a sense of direction, and create meaning. See you in my next episode. Thank you, guys, and love you all. Bye.